Ray Charles was a prominent figure for soul music. With his extraordinary ability, he has been able to combine different musical sounds and give it a unique and successful interpretation. Ray was born in Albany, Georgia, in 1930 by a family of humble origins. Still a child, at the age of 5, he witnesses the death of his little brother, drowned in a bathtub of laundry. This dramatic episode condemns the little Ray to guilt. The mother accused him of not saving his brother. From there on short it starts to have problems at the sight, and at the age of about 8 years becomes completely blind. Today we could reinterpret the event in a psychosomatic key. There are no rare cases in which, following a traumatic event, our body expresses itself causing a glaring reaction. It is not always possible to decode the traumatic events experienced and confront them emotionally. Children, in order to be able to cope with what they live, must have a caregiver who can reassure them and help them to give meaning to what happened. This remains important even to adults to face a traumatic event, a painful experience or a prolonged moment of stress. This serves to free the suffering and give it a personal value. When you do not face suffering, you are led to preserve the memories, to put them aside in some way, as if they crystallized. Therefore these memories and their emotions are never elaborated. Unfortunately, however, this does not mean that these memories disappear. Indeed, the suffering forced into an emotional block involves a series of consequences. For example, there are some ways to avoid, or anesthetize, or confuse this pain. Just think of the heroin addiction that Ray had for over 20 years of his life. In this perspective, the hypothesis can be so rebuilt. A 5-year-old child who sees the death of a little brother, how can he defend himself from this pain? And which organ can represent the target if not the eyes? Impaired vision is one of the possible reactions to what he would not have liked to see, to a shock, to those images that are reappearing in his eyes. With what emotional tools can a child, and then an adult, elaborate so much pain? How can he punish his sense of helplessness? It is now abundantly demonstrated by the medical scientific research that diseases, even of infectious origin, will focus on a target organ that is fragile for us and affect its vulnerability. No longer having to see, he will no longer attend such dramas. At 9 months after the death of the little brother, Ray begins to present signs of what will become a real blindness. Ray then attends a school for the blind in Florida, and there he knows the music and develops his gift. He will say, "I was born with music inside me. It is the only explanation I know for what I have accomplished in life." He achieves a remarkable success that runs through the years 60, 70, 80, until his death in 2004. Years of acclamation and recognition of his talent, his music and his pain. A series of sorrows and mourning lead Ray to get away from his place of origin. He loses for a long time, as well as pictures and people, maybe even some painful childhood memories. But here he comes back with a sweet song to his Georgia, with the well-known piece, Georgia on My Mind, an adapted cover that becomes popular and widespread in its version of 1960. He develops the sense of belonging to a community. This song becomes the symbol of reconciliation after conflicts for the recognition of civil rights. As with each song, Ray manages to transform any piece of music into an intimate and inner experience, due to his great vocal talent. Returning to its origins and being able to relate with oneself is a decisive step for the evolution of self-awareness. Often you get away from your origins in adolescence, sometimes you are ashamed of these and hide them, and you want to distance your origins from the description of yourself. But when you return and you make peace with yourself, you can say, "I am also this." The sense of belonging confirms something that all of us, sooner or later, realized: we do not live only for oneself. Feeling part of a system, of a community, allows us to express different aspects of our identity. How can we be inspired from the character of Ray Charles? If initially his life was more a struggle for survival, then it becomes a choice, supported by the awareness of his history and origins. It becomes an awareness of one's own identity. Living the Gift. Life stories to inspire us.